The smell hit them first, not the smell of garbage, not the stench of a clogged drain. Something worse, something ancient and wrong. The kind of odor that burrows into the back of your skull and refuses to leave. Papu Lal had been standing at the edge of that narrow alley behind C Block, Sector 31, Noida, for almost 3 minutes before he could make himself move forward. His daughter Gudia had been missing for 5 months. 5 months of police stations, 5 months of dead ends, 5 months of sleeping with her photograph pressed to his chest. He moved forward. And that is when India's most devastating secret cracked open. It was December 2006. Noida, a gleaming satellite city carved out of the dust south of Delhi, was the kind of place people moved to for better lives. Shiny malls, corporate parks, gated societies on the surface. Sector 31 looked like progress. But pressed up against its polished edges was Nithari village, a pocket of migrant laborers, domestic workers, and daily wage earners who had followed the city's promise and found themselves trapped just outside it. Their children played in the alleys. Their women walked to work before dawn, and one by one, quietly, with almost no one paying attention, they vanished. Now, before we go further, let me be absolutely clear. These are real people, real children, real families who are still waiting to this day for justice that never fully arrived. Their names deserve to be spoken. Rimpa Haldar, 14 years old, Arun, 9, Dipali Sarkar, 7, Rakna, 6. These are only some of them. There were at least 17 confirmed victims, possibly more. The youngest was barely old enough to start school. Now, here is something you need to understand about the geography of this story. Because geography, in this case, is everything D5. Sector 31 was not some hidden shack. It was a large 2-story house, the kind of house that announced wealth. It belonged to a businessman named Maninder Singh Pandar, a well-connected man who divided his time between his Noida residence and properties in Chandigarh and Ludhiana. He was the kind of man that people in Nithari village saw through their windows but never spoke to directly. He was above them in every way they could measure. He had a car, multiple phones, staff, influence, his domestic servant, a man named Surinder Kohli, lived in the house, quiet, unremarkable, the kind of man that people in wealthy households learn not to see, because he existed in that invisible space between guest and furniture. The house had a back wall. Behind the wall was a narrow drain, and behind that drain, in the dirt, was what was left of Noida's missing children. The families of Nithari had been screaming for over a year. Let that register, over a year. Mothers had marched to the local police station with photographs. With names, with timelines, they had wept at constable desks. They had filed missing person reports, some of which were simply never recorded. One officer, according to later investigations, had looked a grieving father in the eye and told him his daughter had probably just run away, eloped, maybe gone to the city to find work. She was 9 years old. The families of Nithari were poor, migrant, and in the calculation of those officers, disposable. That calculation would later become the second crime of this story. But we'll get there. December 27th, 2006. Papu Lal and another father, Durga Prasad, had had enough. They had done everything the right way. Police complaints, appeals, prayers, none of it worked. So they decided to look themselves. They went to S.C. Mishra, the former head of the local resident welfare association, and the three of them walked to the back of D5 together. What they found in that drain would be described by investigators as among the most disturbing crime scenes in Indian criminal history. Decomposed human remains, bones, fragments, pieces of lives that had been discarded like waste. Mishra made one phone call, then he made another, and by nightfall, police vans were surrounding a house that officers had apparently driven past dozens of times while ignoring every complaint. Maninder Singh Pandar and Surinder Kohli were taken into custody within 24 hours. And here is where the story splits into two separate horrors running parallel, because this case was never just about one monster. It was about a system that chose not to look. Surinder Kohli confessed, not immediately, but under a narco-analysis test. The quiet, invisible servant began to speak, and what he described was methodical, calculated evil. He confessed to luring children to the house, some with promises of food or work for their parents. He confessed to strangling them. He confessed to dismembering their bodies, and in details too graphic to fully recount here, investigators found evidence suggesting he may have gone further than that. Kohli was convicted. The courts sentenced him to death. Mercy petitions were filed, rejected. A death warrant was issued in 2014. And then, because India's legal system operates on its own incomprehensible timeline, his sentence was commuted to life imprisonment in 2015 due to delays in execution. He received additional death sentences in 2017 and 2019 for other cases. But here is the twist that nobody saw coming. Nobody. October 16th, 2023. 17 years after bones were pulled from that drain. 17 years after those families stood in that alley with their grief. The Allahabad High Court, one of India's most respected judicial bodies, acquitted both Surinder Kohli and Maninder Singh Pandar. Acquitted, the court's reasoning was stark. The convictions had rested almost entirely on confessions. Confessions obtained during narcoanalysis, a method that many legal experts considered deeply unreliable. The court found that the investigation had been riddled with failures, that physical evidence was mishandled, that the CBI, despite taking over from a corrupt local police force, had focused on the most sensational narrative and ignored more complex possibilities, including, astonishingly, the possibility of organized crime, an organ trafficking network, or other actors who may never have faced a single question. The court didn't say these men were innocent. It said the state had failed to prove they were guilty beyond reasonable doubt using credible evidence. Papu Lal was outside the courtroom that day. He said, "We don't have the strength to fight anymore. Let's go back, because there are details in this case that still don't add up." And that is what separates a story from a reckoning. Pandar traveled frequently. He was often not in Noida when investigators later acknowledged at least some of the crimes occurred. His defense maintained throughout that Kohli had acted entirely alone, using the house while the employer was away. The CBI ultimately found no direct evidence placing Pandar at the scenes of the crimes. No forensic link, no witness placing him in the act. And yet, he owned the house. He employed Kohli. He was there on other occasions when children were present. What did he know? What did he see? What did he choose not to ask about? Those questions have never been definitively answered. And then there is the original police failure, perhaps the most corrosive betrayal in this entire story. 2 officers were suspended. A handful of others were disciplined. An inquiry committee found gross negligence by the Uttar Pradesh police. But negligence is a quiet word for what happened here. These families had gone to the people sworn to protect them multiple times, over more than a year, and been turned away. Their children were dying while officers filled out other paperwork, or didn't fill out paperwork at all. No officer was ever criminally charged. There is something that happens to the mind when it tries to absorb a story like this. It looks for a single villain, one monster clearly labeled, safely contained. It's neater that way. You can point at the monster and feel the world makes sense. But the Nithari case refuses that comfort. There was Kohli, convicted by multiple courts, then acquitted, then reconvicted in other cases. His legal fate still tangled in appeals. There was Pander, a man who may have been culpable, or may have been a terrible employer who hired a killer and looked the other way, or may have been wrongly convicted, depending on which court's ruling you accept. There were police officers who failed children in the most catastrophic way imaginable and walked away with suspensions. There was a system, economic, bureaucratic, social, that decided the children of Nithari were not worth the same urgency as children in wealthier postcodes. All of these things are true simultaneously, and that is what makes this case not just horrifying, but haunting. Rimpa Haldar would have been in her 30s today. Arun would be a young man. The unnamed 7-year-old girl would be someone's colleague, someone's wife, someone's mother. Instead, their names are filed in court documents. Their photographs are in inquiry reports. Their bones were collected from a drain behind a big house in Noida and counted, tagged, and eventually returned to families who had been praying they were alive. 17 confirmed victims. The real number may be higher, because if the police ignored complaints for over a year, how many disappearances were never even reported? We don't know. We may never know. The house at D5, Sector 31 still stands. It has been sealed, reopened, resealed over the years, its legal status shifting with every new court order. The families of Nithari village still live in the shadow of what happened there, poorer now. Many of them scattered, their communities fractured by grief that has had no resolution. Papu Lal still doesn't know, with legal certainty, who killed his daughter. And that, more than any single detail in this case, is the thing that should keep all of us awake. Because justice isn't only about punishing the guilty. It's about a state telling its most vulnerable people, "We see you. We will protect you. Your children matter. India failed the children of Nithari." And the most chilling part of this story isn't what one man did in the dark. It's how many people in the light watched it happen and decided, for one reason or another, that it wasn't their problem.